Well, hello, and welcome back to Fair Life. Yeah, with Andrew McKee. I am Andrew McKee, and it has been a while. It has been a long while since, wow, July, I guess. Yeah. Wow. So a lot of things have happened since then. So this is mainly a test show. I'm trying out some settings, gonna make sure everything's working okay since it has been a while and we had so many technical problems last week. Yeah, I couldn't do the stream, but I think I figured most of those out. There are still a few things to work out. A couple of the plugins in OBS that I use aren't working currently because of some updates, and I'll get those figured out over the next week. But it's been a process. But hey, this at least we're up, and if this goes well, I'll use this as a good sound and lighting test, and then we can go from there. And I think I'll be good on Mondays through the end of the year. So yeah, I know I shouldn't promise anything, but yeah. And yes, thanks, Ginny. Yeah. Wow. So yeah. Oh gosh, I'm already seeing some things that aren't working. The chat coming into the main screen doesn't seem to be working right now. I can see the chat. That's good, but I can't put it on the page. Okay. Well, Drew, Kevin, Chris, Kurt, Harvey, Jan, Dan, and Janine, thanks for joining. Video and sound are good. Okay. That's good. There'll be a lot of little figuring out of things. Okay. So let's just jump right in and talk about what's been going on with me, because it's a lot. And yeah, it's going to be a thing. So, okay, this past summer, I was traveling around trying to get a lot of things done and worked on and figured out, and going through plans, and a lot of little things were conspiring to make streaming difficult. And then I was getting ready for Gen Con and Dragon Con in August, or for August. And then, one of my family members passed away. He was elderly, so understandable. It wasn't that much of a shock, but still definitely rough. And I've been helping out my parents and take care of the house and get things figured out and cleaned, and working on stuff. I've been very domestic, as a matter of fact, doing a lot of that, cleaning out the attic, doing some electrical wiring and some changing light fixtures and painting walls and doing that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been a process, but in so doing that, it got a little crazy. And yeah, and then I'd be traveling and going to Gen Con and Dragon Con and trying to work all around that, and it just made the process a little rough. I kept trying to figure out how to make it work, and something conspired to make that difficult. Some of it was beyond my control. Some of it, like last week, was totally my fault. I realized one of the tweaks I did, this would have been back in April, was set to bind the IP address in OBS to make things work better. And when I changed here, something got reset, and it gave me I'd set a manual IP address, but the network adapter got reset, and it gave me a new one. So that's what that error message meant when I was trying to stream last week, and it really threw me for a loop. I was trying everything to try to make it work, but yeah, so that's essentially what happened last week. I got that figured out. I reset up a new binding and got the IP address part settled. I mean, essentially, I was trying to stream to something that wasn't there, so it kept saying, yeah, streaming not possible, and I'm like, what does that mean? So I'd never seen that error message before. So that was a frantic 15 minutes until I finally was just, yeah, this isn't happening tonight. So anyway, for those of you who've been through that, yeah, it sounds like a few of you have, from what I'm reading. It is a little rough handling that type of thing with family, but I just wanted to be here and help out as much as I can, and I think I've helped a lot. So yeah, that's And okay, and Harvey says sound and video are good, so that is great. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm going to be looking back at this, and oh, hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining. I'm going to be working on this and checking out the stream this week and then tweaking some things. And yeah, I noticed a few plugins aren't working. Some of the transitions, they work, but they're pretty bland. Some of the motion plugins for OBS for the different graphics are, yeah, the defaults are no longer functioning, so I had to get some new ones. And I figured out how to install them, but I haven't set up every transition yet. And also the laser pointer in the map is not working, so that's going to be annoying. I always like that laser pointer, so I'm going to have to figure out how to set that up, and maybe I might have to get a new app for it, or a new plugin, so we shall see. So to make a long story short, too late, that's what's been going on with me. Dragon Con and Gen Con went great. In fact, shockingly great. Gen Con, I made a lot of mistakes, but they were worthwhile mistakes. I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about when you just try something and you bite off more than you can chew, but you know at the end you're going to learn a lot from it, and it means that every future show is going to be better. And that's what I did with Gen Con. I did 6 ticketed shows in 3 days, and it was that, yeah? No, 4 days. 4 days. 6 ticketed shows in 4 days. And it was then also busking and playing music throughout as well. And that was a lot more than what I'm used to. And some of them worked, some of them really didn't. And I learned a lot from that process. So next year it'll go a lot smoother and better. Very worthwhile. But still a good year, but a lot more work than I'm used to. I was wiped. And yeah, Janine says, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. You got to try stuff to learn. Sometimes it's the dartboard. You just try it and see if it hits. If it doesn't, okay, you try something else. That's kind of how you do it. And Kevin, no, that does not include the cabaret. So yeah. Yeah, welcome to my world. Yeah, I really went crazy with it. It was one of those things I thought some of the things I was trying before weren't working. So let's just, I was hearing conflicting things from other performers and other people doing events too, not just music. Some said that the morning events were their best. Others said that afternoon was okay. Others said nights were the way to go. And it was, how do you test all that? I mean, for this, it's kind of hard. So what I did was I just tried a little bit of everything. Yeah, and I was wiped, but it was worthwhile. Dragon Con was kind of the opposite. It was not as stressful or crazy. It was actually probably one of the calmest Dragon Cons I've ever done. I know. And I played music with Mark. So that's huge. It went very well. And Chris is asking if Anara really oversang me in the bog off at DC. Yeah, that was that was one of those things that was just a fun thing to do. I mean, okay, you get this cute little kid to come up and sing Bog Down the Valley against me. I knew there was no way in the world I was going to win that. I mean, come on. Cuteness alone meant she was going to win. And the more I tried to win that, the worse it would be for me. So I just had fun with it, and she had fun with it. And oh man, she was talking up a storm and being all, you're going down, Andrew. And it was hilarious. Oh man, she had so much fun, and it was a good moment. So yeah, that was in the Brobdingnagian and Bards show. For those of you who aren't following along, sorry. One of Mark's daughters, Anara, came up and challenged me to a competition on who could do Bog Down in the Valley better, the song. So it was a fun moment. It went great, and honestly, yeah, I hopefully we'll do it next year because that was hilarious. I think we can outdo it. I think we can do something with make it an annual thing if they're game, because that was hilarious. That kind of worked. Uh, and Lisa says multiple personalities could help to explore possible options. Yes. Luckily, I don't suffer from that, so I have to ask other people, and that's kind of what I did. I got as much data as I could and tried to figure it out. So that was Gen Con and Dragon Con, both I think very successful and for different reasons. So yeah, that was it was good. I have no real complaints about it this year, surprisingly, because I always have some. But no, it went pretty smooth, and I really hope we can do something like that next year. I really do. I think that was a good learning experience. We did a lot of things a little different and tried to economize and make everything easier and more bang for the buck. And I think we succeeded, and we're going to keep trying to do that. I think we learned a little bit more, like you do every year. I mean, every year is a learning experience, and things change. Things that worked 5 years ago aren't going to work now as well, or at all. It's that's one of the things you have to learn when you're a performer. In some businesses, precedent is very important, and doing things the same way for sometimes decades is the important way to do it. Otherwise, you can't compare it with other things that have been done or that other people do. But for performers, you can't, because the more you do it the same, the less people like it, for the most part. So you have to constantly keep evolving. And if you ever stop, if you just start being a cover band of yourself, yeah, I mean, your career is pretty much over, I think, at least generally. So yeah, I'm a lot more tolerant of other musicians who've tried to reinvent themselves. When I was younger, I'd look at musicians who suddenly did totally different genres of music or tried something completely different style. And I thought, why are they doing that? I like their old stuff. But now I get it. I mean, is it a risk? Yes. Does it always work? No. But does it sometimes work? Yeah. Yeah, and Janine says being a cover band of yourself sounds like an insult. Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it's I get it too. It's kind of like phoning it in. You're just playing your old songs. You're not coming out with anything new, and you're playing them exactly how you used to do it. And now some people like that. Fans, they want to hear the same thing again and again. They want to be able to sing along to the song they fell in love with. I get it. It makes sense. But that's a way to keep your old fans. It's not a way to make new ones. And yeah, Harvey says music should always evolve. At the very least, I mean, there's something to be said for keeping a song the same and so people can sing along. But, especially for sing-along songs, for drinking songs, you kind of get that. But if you don't evolve as a performer, you don't evolve as a person. I mean, you're not as happy. And the audience can tell when you're not as happy. They really can. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird balancing act, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'm reading the chat in there, and yeah, that's it. It's a weird balancing act. You've really got to figure out that way to make it so that people that want to hear the old stuff and sing along and enjoy it the way they remember it, they're represented, and then people that constantly want new stuff, that get bored with the old stuff, are satisfied too, and that you as an artist is satisfied with being creative. Like for instance, when I was at the New Jersey Ren Fair earlier this year, I got into this period where I was playing a little bit with one of the groups out there, but mostly I was just running sound. And while it was gratifying to help all those performers out and take the sound, I take the sound very seriously. I did my best to make them sound good, and they really appreciated it, because a lot of sound engineers either don't, or they do it their way, and their way often comes from a a rock background, not a folk background. So I think generally they appreciated what I was doing, but I realized it wasn't very creatively fulfilling. So next year, I'm definitely going to push for more music time where, okay, I'll run sound, but I want to be able to have my own show or have some set times for busking so that I'm going to busk at these times every day, no matter what, and set something like that up. So I've learned because you've got to be creatively fulfilled. Yeah, and Kurt's saying you can always change your pattern for the sing-alongs, and that's true. You can mix it up a little bit, and that's what I mean. You kind of have to find that balance because sometimes you can do little things like that make it interesting for you. I mean, for me, what I was always do is when I was playing with Mark, we just try to make each other laugh. We'd keep trying to come up with new banter and new things to say in between songs or in between verses sometimes, and it would try to break each other essentially. And that was just a fun little game we would play to make it interesting on songs that we've been singing thousands of times. Because otherwise it can get old. Oh, and Dan said he was at a party with John Williams from New Jersey recently. He spoke very highly of me. Thank you. Yeah, I could speak very highly of John. He is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Not just that, he has one of the best attitudes. I mean, there should be a picture of him in the dictionary next to the word positivity. It is just, yeah, he's like that. Just such a good guy. And as long as I've known him, and it's been a while now, I guess I've known him for, how long? At least a decade, maybe more. I'm going to have to think about that now. Okay. Yes, and Janine's saying the dean at the community college where she works insists on being allowed to teach a few classes. That's her version of creative involvement. And yeah, it's kind of keeping your hand in. I imagine it's like that when you get the desk job and you're no longer doing some of the things you enjoy. You're doing more of the things you don't enjoy. It might be worthwhile, but it's nice to have some of that. And yeah, and John is a really fun guy. Yeah, definitely. Oh man, yeah. So okay, so that's what's been going on with me. Coming up in just a little under 2 weeks, Louisiana Ren Fair, and I'll be there for 6 weeks. So that's going to be exciting, and I will be helping with the sound there. But that's a very different animal. I'm not constantly running sound at one stage like I am at New Jersey. I'm in charge of all the sound for the fair. So I just make sure everything gets set up correctly, do sound checks with everybody before the first weekend, and do a quick walkthrough in the morning of the first Saturday, just to make sure everybody knows it's all set up, it's working, everybody's happy, no problems, nothing needs to be fixed. And then I'm off. I just do my busking and do my regular thing. Otherwise, I'm just around to fix any problems that come up, and occasionally groups get switched out. So you'll get in on the third weekend or something, a new group will come in and take somebody else's place, and I'll make sure their sound is set up and they're happy. But and I'll probably end up doing that on that Saturday morning, right after morning meeting, but before opening gate, and help them out. But that's about it. I mean, it's not too bad, and it's a really good balance, and I still get to do a lot of music, and it works. The first year I did it wasn't as much of a balance. I was doing a lot of that and not as much music as I should have been, or wanted to do. So, but it was the first year, so I learned from that, and since then I've been figuring that out. Oh, cool. So some of y'all are going to Louisiana, so that is great. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And like I said, I will be out there every day. So including student days and and the Friday after Thanksgiving. So yeah, that's that is, let's see, 16 days, I think, total. Yeah, 16 days total. So yeah, it's for six weekend fair. That's a good number of days because of those student days. It really adds up, and it's going to be interesting, definitely. But the good news is, I think I've got it all worked out. Where, I say that, but I can do Faire Life every Monday from now on till the end of the year. That's the current plan. No pressure. We're working on that. This is a good test, and I'll be able to tweak and do some stuff, and I think we're good. The good news is I also treated this as a nice test for streaming, because the stream on YouTube is incredibly efficient and high quality. Very low bit rate, but very high quality with the latest video codec that they will accept. And that's great. And I found a way to tweak Facebook. Now, the current Facebook one stream is a higher bit rate and reasonable quality. But I think I figured out a way to cheat and make Facebook very efficient too. If I lower the resolution down to 720p from 1080, I can really lower the bit rate a lot, and I can take that down to 1.5 megabit, and that will work. So yeah, I think we can do it. So that means and by do it, I mean, if in the future I'm on the road and I don't have great internet, I can possibly use my cell phone to for internet and still live stream to both YouTube and Facebook. I know I'd need a decent data connection, but even if I have a bad data connection, I can still probably make it work, even if I just use one of them, maybe like either just Facebook or just YouTube or whatever. I could do that and cheat that way. So yeah, that's kind of my approach. I know, and I'm still tweaking and working on it and figuring out how to do some cool stuff. But this is good. Well, let's go ahead and go over the Faire list, because there's been a lot of changes. We're kind of at that cusp where a lot of the early fall fairs are ending before we go into late fall and winter. Because it's starting to get a little cooler now, just starting. So yeah, you're getting a lot of those northern fairs are on their last weekend or already finished. So it's kind of at that weird transition phase. You get a few single weekend fairs or 2 or 3 weekend fairs that are kind of closing out the end of the season, finding those little spots in their region where other stuff isn't going on and they can fill that void after another fair closes. Yeah. And, Janine says, if I end up doing only one, let it on the other platform. I will. And it might be possible to do a restream and just get a restream account if I need to, so I can stream to them and they'll stream it out. That might be the smartest thing. Or set up a restream a server myself somewhere. So that's yeah. Oh, and Chris is asking about songs. Yeah, not tonight. This is more about doing a quick test. But yeah, maybe next week I can set that up. This is more about, I'm going to be listening back and checking video and sound and lighting and all the plugins and making sure everything's good to go for next week. Once I get that locked in, I'll start looking at the extras. I'm not even doing 7 Reasons. I figured I'd do the Faire list, but that's probably all for tonight. This is kind of the reintroduction to me, in case you forgot who I am, because let's be honest, been a while. But yeah, at least go through the list. So yeah, let's jump into that. And like I said, I don't have the laser pointer app. That app isn't working right now with the new update to OBS, so I'm going to have to figure out how to make that work for next time, but I will. Don't worry. So let's jump in. Okay, here we go. So hopefully I got all these right. Starting over in Delaware, the far east there, the Delaware Renaissance Fair in Townsend, Delaware, This starts this weekend and goes on for 3 weekends. The first weekend is themed Hallow Weekend, appropriately. Oh, and Kurt is asking, can you just change your mouse arrow color? I could, but the problem is the mouse, it's not visible on the feed. It's in Windows, but it's not visible like that. There might be an app to make it visible and change the color, possibly, but yeah, I kind of like the pointer, and I was going to just do that. It's a pretty simple way to just activate it and deactivate it, so I generally like that. Okay, the thing about Delaware is for the longest time, they were kind of like the running joke state-wise for Ren Fairs, because they were one of the only states that didn't have a Ren Fair for the longest time. And this fair started in 2022, so just a few years ago, the Delaware Renaissance Fair, so they finally got one. So kind of cool. Then, of course, the Pennsylvania Ren Fair, which has been around since 1980, one of the old classics, in Manheim, Pennsylvania, it's on its last weekend, weekend 11. That's right, 11 out of 11. So their theme for the last weekend is Halloween Days and Spooky Nights 3. That's right, the last 3 weekends are Halloween Days and Spooky Nights 1, 2, and 3. And the third one is subtitled The Cabinet of Dr. Scratchy. Not quite sure what that means. I'm sure that's a reference to some character they have there. Then, going south of there, we have the Ravenwood Fair in Clearbrook, Virginia. And it is on its last weekend, second. It goes for 2 weekends. And then, farther south there, we have the Carolina Renaissance Festival in Huntersville, North Carolina. And that is in the middle. It's of course, it's a little more south, so they can get away with that. It is the 4th weekend out of 8, and the theme is Halloween Days and Spooky Nights. Yeah, 11 weeks is insane, Drew. And it's, believe it or not, they used to have more. I believe, if memory serves, several years ago, they tried doing something like 14 or 15 weekends. Maybe it was even 16. It was something crazy. And they did that for a year. And afterwards, no, they stopped. They didn't do that anymore. Yeah, I know, Drew, crazy, right? So they did that. It was, they tried it. I think they lowered it down to like 12 after that, went back to 12, and now they're back at 11. If memory serves, it was something along those lines. So 11 is actually the condensed version for them. I know, right? Pennsylvania, what are you going to do? So going a little northwest, we have the Ohio Renaissance Festival, which is also on its last weekend in Waynesville, Ohio. The 9th out of 9 weekends. You know, Drew would say that's the proper number of weekends. Yeah, the last weekend theme is Heroes and Young Adventurers. And then going south is an interesting one. This one is one of those classic small one-weekend fairs that is still around, the Alabama Renaissance Fair. It was first done in 1987. And it's just the one weekend in Florence, Alabama, Northwest Alabama. And just the one weekend. It's an interesting design because even back in the 80s, it was essentially a huge craft fair that had a bunch of people that Ren Fairs would love to have. People who just make their own stuff. And it was a huge craft fair, usually listed as one of the best places like that in the southeast of the U.S. on a lot of top 10, top 20 lists for years. But they themed the craft fair as a Renaissance fair. So it had that theme. And early on, they didn't really have much in the way of entertainment. It just kind of had that theme. And gradually, they've built up from that into more of a Renaissance fair. But it's an interesting development and a progression that I found fascinating to watch. I've seen it, but I've never performed there or anything. And it always conflicted with other stuff I was doing. so could never quite make it work. And jumping over to northwest of that, we have the last weekend of the St. Louis Renaissance Festival in Forrestal, Missouri. This is the theme is Enchanted Halloween. And also in southern Missouri, we have the Feast of the Goblin King, just the one day on Saturday in Hartville, Missouri. Then going down to Arkansas, we have Rentopia Renaissance Fair. What a great name, right? Rentopia. I mean, it really sounds like something. It sounds like something DreamWorks or Disney would come out as a movie. Rentopia, but yeah, Rentopia Renaissance Fair in Bentonville, Arkansas, just the one weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Then you go down into Texas, and this is interesting. Scarborough Fair is they started doing a fall festival. Because normally they're in the spring, but it's been popular for some fairs to do that. There are a few around the country that have done it and done it quite successfully. So Scarborough's jumping on that bandwagon in Waxahachie, Texas, and this is its first year doing this. And they're on weekend 3 out of 6 of that. So the new owners of Scarborough are really going at it, trying to maximize profit there and see what they can do. It's a lot of changes. And speaking of new owners, we go down to the Texas Renaissance Festival in Todd Mission, Texas, and it is the 3rd weekend out of 8, and their theme is All Hallows Eve, fittingly enough. So yeah, Drew is saying they've been doing a Halloween fest, but this Scarborough's Hallow, this is a new, because it's very extended. So yeah, it is a little different. Then we go over to California, where the All Hallows Fantasy Fair that started in 2009. So this is its 16th year, not bad. Angels Camp, California, just the one weekend, again, like a lot of them are. And then, speaking of fairs that do a spring and a fall, there's the Escondido Renaissance Fair fall version in Southern California. In Escondido, California, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Don't criticize me too much. I'll work on it. But it's 2 weekends, and this is the first weekend of that. So there we go. The map. Yeah, I honestly think it works so much better with a laser pointer. Maybe I'm biased. I just have fun moving the pointer around with my mouse and doing that, and I'm used to it. So I was trying to make up for it by saying to the northwest of that and west of that and over in California, and say things like that to make it a little so you could follow it better. But yeah, that's the best I could do. Hopefully won't have to do that again. It's one of the interesting problems with OBS. I love the software, but sometimes when they do an update, some of the old plugins that have been stables for years just aren't up on the new standard, or using an old. I'm summarizing, but are using an old language that doesn't quite work, or something like that. It's the interface is just isn't updated, and they haven't updated it in years. So, and the people that were working on it haven't even looked at it in years. It just works, so they leave it alone. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those where often people have come out with new updates that do the same things and better, new apps and utilities, and I will extensions and try those out and see what I can do. But yeah, so I think I've got my list. The chat wasn't going over, so I need to fix that. The laser pointer needs to be added, and the transitions on screens. You can kind of see that it just fades in and out. It doesn't do the motion thing with the windows that I like. I mean, I know that's not that big of a deal, but I spent a lot of time on that back in the day, and I like it. So I've already got a plugin working for that, but I need to configure each different scene to use it, and that takes a little time. So I'll work on that. And Dan said my cat quickly lost interest. I know, without the laser pointer, right? It's that excellent cat toy. Uh, well, don't worry. I'm going to be an advocate for your cats on this and really try to bring back the laser pointer. I am, just for you. But yeah, no, this is okay. I think successful test. Things are looking pretty good. It's sticking to about between 1 and 1.5 megabits. So jumping around a lot, but it's, yeah, and not really much in the way of dropped frames. So it's looking good. Yeah, the pointer's on the top on the list. Don't worry. Well, the pointer and the chat. But I think the chat is just do a quick update and it'll work. I just need to update that plugin. They constantly work on that. I haven't updated it. Well, actually, I updated it earlier this year. So I think it probably just needs another update. So I'll work on that. But those two are the main ones. Because it does work on transitions, but just not. I mean, you can kind of see it's, just kind of fades like that. Doesn't really used to actually move and shift. Do you remember that? I don't know. Maybe you didn't even notice. I thought it was cool and fun because that wasn't a normal thing for use, but oh well. Anyway, so this looks good. All things are looking promising, so should be around next week. Look for your events in Facebook and expect to see it on YouTube, and I'll get everything lined up and prepped, ready for to close out the year. So hopefully we won't miss any more. I don't see why we would. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. So sounds good. Take care. Hang in there. Have a wondrous week. A good weekend. And as always, a fair life. Bye.